Right then. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Sacramento County LAFCO, Local Agency Formation Commission, is now hereby called to order. Will you please stand and we'll recite Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Please be seated. And would our EO, Jose Enriquez, please call roll?
Happy to, Madam Chair. Commissioner Desmond. Commissioner Frost.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Liebig.
Here.
Commissioner Little.
Here.
Commissioner Loloe. Commissioner Walton.
Here.
Commissioner Hume. Commissioner Moore. Commissioner Murphy. Commissioner Valenzuela. And Commissioner Vandenberg. A quorum is present, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Jose. Appreciate that. Now, what we will do next is we have the Metro Cable announcement.
That is correct, and I'll be reading those, Madam Chair. Pursuant to the provisions of Assembly Bill 361, effective October 1st, 2021, and in compliance with directives of the county, state, and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, this virtual meeting of the regular commission meeting is live streamed and closed to the public. Temporary procedures are subject to change pursuant to guidelines related to the social distancing and minimizing person-to-person contact. No physical location will be available for this meeting. However, members of the public will be able to access and participate in the meeting. If you have a question for the commissioners, please raise your hand on your Zoom panel, or if you're on the phone, you can use *69. I also have a replay statement from Sacramento Cable, which I will now read. This meeting of the Local Agency Formation Commission is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14live.ca county. Sorry, let me read that again. metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays at Friday, February 3rd at 1 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. And those are the announcements.
Okay.
And I also would like to report that Commissioner Loloe was able to join us.
Good, excellent. Welcome everyone. Okay, item number 3 is the public forum, public comment. The public is encouraged to address the commission concerning any matter not on the agenda. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. The commission is prohibited from discussing or taking any action on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. Does anyone see any hands raised from the public?
No, Madam Chair, but I believe that you also have to adopt the agenda.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine. I will write it into my list.
Okay.
Can I entertain a motion for approval of said agenda?
Yeah, if there's no changes to the agenda, we can just proceed as without a motion. I don't believe there's any changes or any need.
No.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification, Council Gillick. Appreciate it. All righty. So one step back. Does anyone have any indication that there's someone online remotely that would like to make a comment on something not on the agenda?
There are no hands raised, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move to consent calendar. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been first and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Desmond. Commissioner Frost.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Liebig.
Aye.
Commissioner Little.
Aye.
Commissioner Loloe.
Aye.
Commissioner Walton.
Recused, as I wasn't present.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Motion approved. We go on to item number 5, business items. And our first business item is administering the oath of office to our new commissioners. Welcome one and all. Jose, you handle that, right?
Yes, Madam Chair, since Commissioner Walton is the new commissioner, I'm going to ask her if she can raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Okay.
I, Iva Walton,
I, Iva Walton,
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the California,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, Commissioner Walton.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Congratulations from all of us. Welcome aboard.
Thank
All
you.
right, our next business item, appointment of LAFCO officers for 2023. And I'd like to thank Jose for posting the rotational pattern that we have. And according to that, in 2023, Iva, you're up for chair, and then it'll be an arm wrestle between Supervisor Frost and Supervisor Desmond
Okay.
for the vice chair. Sue, do you have any thoughts on who will be vice chair between you and Rich?
I have already been chair of LAFCO, and I am assuming he would be delighted to be nominated. And so I would be happy to nominate him and Iva Walton.
Oh, okay, we'll do it together then for chair and co-chair.
If
Thank you,
that's
Commissioner
okay.
Frost. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
I second.
Okay, we had a double on the second, but it's all good. Jose, would you please call the roll?
Sure, Madam Chair.
Oh, wait,
Commissioner
I'm sorry, Deanne?
Yeah, so technically we should have comments because it's a motion and approval
Oh.
on from anyone else or the public.
Thank you. Any comments from my fellow commissioners? Any raised hands in the public forum?
No raised hands from the public, Madam Chair.
All right. Going once, twice, 3 times for my peers. All righty, please call the roll.
Commissioner Desmond, Commissioner Frost,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Liebig,
Aye.
Commissioner Little,
Aye.
Commissioner Loloe,
Aye.
and Commissioner Walton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I believe our figurative gavel moves from myself to Iva.
Okay.
Are you listo? Lista, are you ready, Iva?
Well, we'll find out. I appreciate your patience as this is new to me, but it looks like we're moving on to V9.
That is correct, Madam
Would you
Chair.
care to read that?
I will.
The
It's-
clerk.
Yes, it will be approved contract with Plan West Partners for the preparation of the municipal service review and the sphere of influence study for the Sacramento Suburban Water District. And Madam Chair, I can provide a brief staff report.
would be
As you know,
great.
Sacramento Suburban has requested for the preparation of their periodic municipal service review and sphere of influence study. They did so for two reasons. Number one, they felt that it needed to be done. But the second reason is that, as you know, they are currently in discussions with El Paso Manor Water District, as well as Carmichael Water District, for potential reorganization with either or both of those districts. Right now, that is still subject to negotiations. However, it is opportune to update their MSR. Staff recommends essentially two motions. Number one is for you to suspend the new purchasing policy that you have, and I'll get to that in a second. And the second thing is to approve for Plan West Partners to prepare the MSR SOI. The reason for the suspension of the purchasing policy is because it calls for any expenditure over $10,000, you need to get at least two bids. And staff is requesting for the suspension of that policy because Plan West Partners prepared the MSRS, the Municipal Service Review, for Del Paso Manor Water District. And as part of that study, they became intricately involved with Sacramento Suburban, since they needed to find out Sac Suburban's capacity and capability of being able to extend water should those two districts reemerge. So Plan West Partners already has the necessary background. They can hit the ground running with the study. They have a lot of information already compiled and the relationships with Sac Suburban staff in order to complete the report. So the suspension is to allow for just going with Plan West Partners, as the commission has seen from the December meeting. They prepared a very thorough report on Del Paso Manor, so they're more than capable of being able to provide one for Sac Suburban. They were able to provide us with a quote. Sacramento Suburban, by the way, will be reimbursing LAFCO for the cost of this study, and they were also supportive of contracting with Plan West Partners. So that concludes my report. I want to acknowledge that Crystal Heaney from Plan West Partners is here. If you have any questions for either her or for me.
Can't hear a thing.
I have one quick question. Crystal, where, and it probably is in here somewhere, when might we expect completion of the MSR?
Oh, yes. I believe I included a schedule in the proposal, and my bad, I don't have it up in front of me right this second. But it was an abbreviated schedule since we already have a lot of the background information and a good template set up. So it won't take us very long. I think 6 months is what I said. And my apologies again for not having it up.
Oh, no, I don't have it, at least, I don't have it under my agenda items, but we had seen it in the past in preliminary. Just wanted to double check.
Yeah, Commissioner Jones, it's in the staff report. It's attachment A. It's the very last, last page or the second to last page. But their schedule is tentatively June 2023.
And I think it proposed a 6-month schedule. We may be a month late getting started. So a 6-month time frame was what was proposed.
And given that, things always kind of arise, I mean, the reality is that probably the report will be done sometime in the summer, late summer, early fall, in case, some hiccups arise. But that's an extremely shortened window. And I think it basically reflects the fact that Plan West Partners already has a lot of information on Sacramento Suburban already.
Thank you.
Are there any other commissioners' comments or questions for the staff? So would the executive officer see if there's any public comments?
Yes, Madam Chair, there are no raised hands.
Okay, well, we'll close public comments and move on to item 10. You care to read that?
So do we have a motion for approval on the last item with a
pardon.
roll call vote for the approval of the contract, please?
So moved,
Yeah.
Frost.
Second.
And I think a roll call vote is in order.
Yes. So with that, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Desmond, Commissioner Frost,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Liebig,
Aye.
Commissioner Little,
Aye.
Commissioner Loloe,
Aye.
Chair Walton.
Yes.
Motion
Okay,
passes.
with that, okay. Right, with that, we'll move on to item 10.
Item 10 is consider and approve a proposed reorganization of the LAFCO agency. Commissioners, Chair Walton and Commissioners, this item relates to restructuring the way in which LAFCO currently operates in its day-to-day. Staffing is composed of an executive officer, a clerk, and an analyst. These positions are filled by they're contracted out to the County of Sacramento, and they provide the staffing for those services. What this item asks for is a restructuring of how business gets done, or how we have it internally for the agency. As the commissioner is well aware, the workload seems to be increasing, and in fact, we just received a new application this morning. So with that, we need additional assistance, and with the departure of the former commission clerk, it provides an opportunity for us to kind of think a little bit outside the box and how it's structured, how this office is structured internally. And the proposal is to basically convert the position of the commission clerk to a second analyst, so that there's 3 people who are capable of either processing applications or conducting municipal service reviews and sphere of influence studies, and to be able to handle the workload. The role of the former commission clerk was twofold. One was to clerk the commission meetings, and the second was to conduct certain administrative duties. What staff is proposing is that we contract with the clerk of the board to provide the clerk services for this commission. And so at that point, the clerk role will not be handled by me, as I'm badly doing at the moment, but instead it'll be handled by a professional who knows what they're doing. And then the administrative duties will be divvied up amongst the three staff, the 2 analysts and your executive officer. I believe that the administrative duties divided in such a way allows for those duties not to interfere too much or disrupt the workflow of doing other higher analytical functions. So so the proposal is to do that. Should you approve it, then I will work within the county process to be able to handle what needs to happen in order to be able to hire a second analyst. So with that, I will make a confession and come clean. Given the county deadlines to be able to convert the position from the classification of the former clerk, which is administrative services officer, to another analyst, which would be an associate planner. The deadlines were such that either I submitted the paperwork before you had a time to consider this item, or I waited until you approve the item and submit the paperwork to the commission. Unfortunately, if I waited for the commission to approve it first, the next window doesn't open up until August, which really pushes everything out. So I submitted the paperwork in anticipation of you approving it, with the logic that it's a lot easier for me to be able to tell the county, never mind, should you decline to reorganize the office, than it would be to wait 6 to 9 months before I can resubmit the paperwork. So the paperwork has been submitted. It is going in the process. But should you say, Jose, this is a terrible idea, we don't want this, then it's a quick email to several folks. They'll stop the work on it, and LAFCO will remain as is. We would still have to go out and hire and replace the commission clerk under the current classification of ASO 1. But again, my recommendation is that we go through the process of conversion so that there would be a second analyst that will be at the LAFCO office. And I see that Commissioner Little has a question.
Yes, thank you. And I want to just compliment you on this proposal. I think it's outstanding. It'll make the office much more efficient to have another planner involved with all the things that I hope we'll be seeing over in the near future. And I would like to move that we approve the proposed reorganization of the Local Agency Formation Commission as proposed.
I'll be glad to second that.
Thank you. I did see
other
that Commissioner
comments?
Frost did have a question.
Mhm.
You're on mute, Commissioner Frost.
Sorry, probably not a question as much as I wanted to thank you, Jose, for the communications over the past few weeks regarding, progress at LABCO and briefings that brought us up to speed. It was very helpful for me because big changes like this are always hard. You want to make sure that it's something that's going to make sense for the organization. And I also am planning to support it, but I wanted to thank you for the way you went about that. I know it was a little bit of a challenging situation. And I also wanted to say that we didn't really get to say goodbye to Diane Thorpe in person, but I felt like she did such a good job over time. And I really appreciated her professionalism, and I want to wish her well, even though she's not here to receive that. I know that she found it, I think she found a better position, so it probably wasn't relating to this, but I'm happy for that and congratulate her on that also. So that was it.
So for commissioners who don't know, and thank you for the kind words, Commissioner Frost, Diane had been seeking a promotion for quite a while, and she managed to land the promotion that she's been seeking for a while. So all of us here at the office are happy for her that she was able to move. She's returning to the Department of Health Services, which is, I believe, where she started her career with the county. So it's kind of a coming home for her. And very happy to write the resolution of appreciation for all of her efforts here at LAFCO.
Great. Are there any other comments or questions for staff?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, are there any public comments?
There are no raised hands, Madam Chair.
All right. Well, with that, we can close public comments and ask any for the motions already in place. So here we go.
Okay, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Desmond, Commissioner Frost,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Liebig,
Aye.
Commissioner Little,
Aye.
Commissioner Loloe,
Aye.
and Chair Walton.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
All right. Well, that we move on to number 11, excuse me.
Number 11 is to create an ad hoc committee to discuss and negotiate with the county regarding the classification and structure of LAFCO positions within the county and the pension benefit alternatives to the executive officer. And with that, I will turn that over to Council Gillick, who will provide the staff report.
Yeah, good evening, Deanne Gillick, General Counsel. This item is to follow up in part on the item that we just discussed. As the commissioners know, the staff of LAFCO are county employees who are assigned exclusively to the LAFCO Commission and support LAFCO. over the course of the last year and a half, the commission has had several discussions and made comments that it is appropriate to revisit the classifications that the county has for the LAFCO positions. Essentially, the executive officer position is classified as a planner within the county classification systems is one example. And so the recommendation is, or the request is for an ad hoc committee of the board to be established to help the executive officer and myself and staff have those discussions with the county executive's office to evaluate potential classifications for LAFCO staffing for reorganization. In addition, it was brought to our attention here in the last couple of months that when we made the initial offer to the executive officer last summer, the county represented that the PERS contract was different than what it actually is. The retirement was believed to be 55 and a half or 55, and it is actually 61. So just a different formula. So we had a discussion about, are there other compensation, deferred compensation benefits that might be provided? And the county does provide some, but they would require, again, an agreement with the county. So to help facilitate those discussions and direction, the executive officer and I would request that there's an ad hoc committee of the commission established to help in those discussions. And I'm happy to respond to questions, but would request that the commission create and make those appointments at tonight's meeting.
How many people are you looking for in this committee?
Less than a quorum, so 3 or less.
I nominate, I wonder if it would make sense to have the chair and the vice chair, and I'm thinking Gay Jones has a lot of history with the LAFCO. She would be an excellent person to serve on that, but I don't know how the other members feel.
Okay with me.
So I would move, or is that okay with you, Gay, or?
Yes, thank you, Supervisor Commissioner Frost. The chair and vice chair, that's excellent. And I assume it will be Jose and Deanne and then myself. Is that the constitution of our ad hoc?
It makes sense to me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's my motion.
I'll second.
And the intent would be very similar to when we did the outreach and for the executive officer recruitment, a very similar format, which, that ad hoc committee. So I think with that, if we could look for public comment and then a roll call vote.
There are no raised hands from the public.
Okay, well, then let's close public comments, and there's a motion on the floor.
Okay, I'll do the roll call. Commissioner Desmond, Commissioner Frost,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Liebing,
Aye.
Commissioner Little,
Aye.
Commissioner Loloe,
Aye.
Chair Walton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to item 12.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 12 is the discussion on the LAFCO March 1 meeting, which is the next meeting that's coming up. As the staff report indicates, the governor's state of emergency is scheduled to end on February 28th, which is a few weeks from now. After that, basically that renders the ability to meet remotely through AB 361 moot. And so you will have to go back to in-person meetings. Assembly Bill 2449 allows for some limited remote capability. And but that would be on a case-by-case basis. And the number of times that the commissioner can meet remotely is limited as well. So I included the presentation and a staff report from last month as part of your packet today as a refresh on this. Wanted to just kind of discuss the logistics of the March 1 meeting. The good thing is that by then we will have professional clerk services from the clerk of the board to assist us with the technology. And so the ability to meet in person would be greatly enhanced by that. The commission meets at the Board of Supervisors chambers at 700 H Street. And with the end of remote meetings do come a few certain logistical things. The first one will be parking. I have secured several vouchers that basically would pay for parking. I believe parking after 6 o'clock is free, but for that first hour, for between 5 and 6 o'clock, there will be some charges. You will be basically getting a code that you're able to punch in, and that'll validate your parking. So no cost to the commission, to the commissioners directly. I do need to ask you a couple of things. One is who would prefer to resume receiving paper packets? As you know, right now you're receiving all your packets virtually. Some of you may want to return to receiving an actual physical packet. And so for logistical purposes, staff would need to know who would like to go back to that. And in addition, and this is an even more important question, we do plan on having snacks. If you have a preferred snack of choice, please let me know either to today's meeting or subsequent, and we'll make sure that that it'll be there and available to you. We will also have water so that you'll have water up on the dais. So I guess the first question for you is who would like to receive a paper copy of the commission packet?
Jose, this is Gay, and I don't need a paper packet per se. However, tied into this is the question of how much ahead of time do you need to know? And I'm saying that because there might be a fairly complicated issue in front of us. And for my own personal way of studying that, I would like I might like a hard copy so I can make notes in the margin and so on. I'm not super adept at doing that electronically. So with that caveat, what timeline, how much ahead of time would you need to know?
We would need to know basically when we send out the packet, we will always upload it the Monday of the week before the commission meeting, just the same way that you've been receiving it electronically so far. In terms of being able to provide it physically, we will probably be sending it out around that same time. So digitally, it'll be available a week, 10 days before the commission meeting. You will probably be receiving the packet during that week of the week before the commission meeting. So somewhere between 3 to 9 days, depending on the postal service and how big the packet is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer? I
yes,
feel like I
thank
didn't
you.
answer your question.
No, that I appreciate that. I'll get, if and when that issue comes up, I'll contact you that Monday after I look at the electronic package.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jose,
Commissioner Frost.
yes, I do not, I feel the same way Commissioner Jones feels about that. So I do not need paper unless on special request. And I was wondering if it's possible to occasionally, I don't know how others feel, but for me personally, it could be a phone call just to get a briefing on the or an email that gives me a list of the applications that are in your office so that I have an idea of the mountain that's coming at us. I know some of these applications take years, so I'm not expecting detail, just an idea of where they're coming from and what they are. It would give me the ability to wrap my head around what's coming in the county and would be helpful.
I think what we can do is, as part of a packet, include a report on basically what the staff is currently working on.
That'd be great.
And then as I'm able to kind of time when these items are up for the commission hearing, then I can start providing you with an estimate of when, when would be the earliest that we could expect it to come before the commission.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
I would definitely like to get a paper packet sent. We have a lot of internet issues out here in Ileton, and I don't want to get stuck without a big screen to read this agenda and such on.
Okay.
And just for clarification, in the next meeting, in the March meeting, the meeting will take place in Sacramento at the Board of Supervisors chambers. So this is the last meeting that the emergency proclamation allows us to meet remotely due to the COVID rules. And, staff is not intending to do a Zoom interface for the meetings. There may be some teleconference where the public can listen, but not for the board members to be able to participate.
Unless there's an emergency, it looked like from reading the options.
Commissioners Desmond or Liebig or Little on your preference?
I'm good with just electronic copies. Thank you, Jose. And I'm sorry I was late tonight.
Not a problem. You got nominated.
That's what I heard. That's what I get for being late. I understand how that works.
By the way, congratulations, Supervisor Desmond. You are the new chairs.
Yeah, I don't. This is Lindsay. I don't need a paper copy. I have electronics fine with me. And if a certain issue comes up, I can address that. So that's not a problem.
Yeah, I'm fine with it electronic as well. I do think that the idea of having sort of a timeline of where you are with projects and what we're going to see coming forward would be helpful. I know that things change, things get delayed or pushed out, or rarely do they get moved up, but it still would be nice to know kind of what's in the pipeline.
And Commissioner Loloe, your preference, please.
I'm fine with the digital, and obviously if there's an issue or if I have questions, I can reach out to your office.
Thank you. Now that I'm thinking through the logistics, because we're partnering with the clerk of the board, I have to make sure that I honor their timelines as well. So I would be crafting the agenda much earlier. What I can do is I can circulate a draft agenda to you when I submit it to the clerk's office. That way, that would be your trigger for you as to whether or not you prefer a paper copy. So at least you'd see what's already on the agenda. I think we can do that at the staff level.
Good idea.
Well, thank you everyone for your thoughts on the packet, and we'll make it happen. I'll also reach out to the alternates to see what their preference is going to be, and then for the big question, snacks. Does anybody have a preference?
Would steak and lobsters be considered snacks, or is that overkilling?
I'm not sure that's in the budget.
I think in the past, staff used to do like pizza and salad or something. There was a tiny bit of variety. I don't know what you mean by snacks. If that means like sugary stuff, I'm not, my preference isn't sugar, but I really liked the salad and pizza type thing. But I don't know what everyone else likes, and I don't know what your budget is, so I'm not picky. I don't even have to eat if that is what's necessary. I'm just throwing it out. They did a good job in the past.
Okay.
Same here. I'm not picky at all. So whatever the majority goes with, I'm fine.
And I think the goal is just because, and knowing that it's a 5:30 to allow for the commissioners to participate at that time and hour.
Did I hear you say vegetable crudité, Councilmember Loloe?
That's kind of what I was
definitely
thinking.
add that. I mean, that that was my, I have a whole list. I'm glad that you brought that up.
That's what I was thinking. It kind of goes in with Supervisor Frost, and no sugar, but the veggies.
I concur with all my brilliant commissioners on the scope of our digestive systems.
Okay, we'll see what we can make happen.
Well, in the first meeting, why don't we let you surprise us?
Pressure.
Great. Okay.
And a quick sandwich is fine too,
Yeah.
Just
Whatever
FYI.
Yeah, whatever you do is great.
Yeah, I second that.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. If you wanted to reach out later on, you can just also shoot me a quick email. Hey, I thought about this. So, thank you.
Do we need public comment on this?
There's no action, so.
Yeah, there's no action.
Okay,
and,
great.
And there are no hands raised, so I think we're good.
Okay. So we're moving on to number 6. Any questions or announcements?
Commissioner Frost has her hand up.
I just want to welcome all the new members and look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jones.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to welcome Iva Walton. Ma'am, you've done an excellent job running the meeting tonight. Thank you very much. You've obviously had lots of experience with this, and I appreciate you stepping right in there and doing a great job. So welcome.
Well, thank you. It's actually the second meeting I've ever run, so I'm a little new on this, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, hey, don't give away any of that. You're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. I do have a second item, is that I believe Supervisor Desmond has already met our Metro Fire's new interim chief, Dan Haverty. And I would like to invite any and all of my fellow commissioners at some point, if you'd like to have a meet and greet or have a cup of coffee with our new fire chief, please just reach out to me and we'll grab some time. Just courtesy, professional presentation, introduction.
Wonderful. Are we ready to adjourn the meeting? Or are there more comments?
The only other comment that I had, Madam Chair, is that the CalAFCO, there's actually going to be a CalAFCO University class that will be offered later on in February. It's primarily geared towards staff, but I believe commissioners can also participate. I'll distribute the flyer. There will be, in addition to a moderator, 2 very distinguished speakers plus me. And it'll be on hidden gems from the Cortesian-Oxford Act. And in addition, we will also have the CalAFCO workshop, which is scheduled for April 28th, I believe, or the whichever week ends on April 28th. And it'll be in Murphy's, California. So I need to check my schedule. We will definitely have your policy analyst, Desiree Fox, attending that one. And that's kind of, those are the 2 announcements that I had.
Okay, well, I look forward to meeting you all in person next month. And with that, I believe the meeting's adjourned.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
everyone.
Ciao.